Just when I thought I was finished with the interior modeling for the Vega, I attempted to export a model for an Auran Trainz scenery object, and I found a number of problems with the interior model. The exterior model wasn't as bad. Here you can see a few of the flaws. I just showed how not all of the vertices are connected to the edges they're on, which could create some of the problem. But in the latest incarnation, all of these extra details, like the inset gauges and everything, are not really what is preventing a proper export. They may be indirectly causing it, but really the problem, as you'll see in a moment, is that the normals are largely facing the wrong way, even though you get no warning of this inside Blender. It used to be when you went to object mode and displayed the textures, you would see the holes in the model, or the appearance of holes, but that's no longer true with the newer versions of Blender. So I was caught off guard. Here you can see one warning, and the warning doesn't even tell you what's the matter with the model export into Auran Trainz. Actually, it's not technically an error. It simply is that my normals are facing the wrong way, and they export just fine. The problem is they're not what I want. So here I was checking the materials to see if there was anything I could do to fix them. Later on I'll rebuild them, but for the moment we'll take a look at the model I exported and we'll see what's the matter with it. So there it is. So it looks like a bunch of things haven't exported, but in reality what's happened is that the normals are facing the wrong way. So the floor and the sides are all facing out instead of in, for one thing. So we'll start out by selecting the floor here, by selecting one face and then hitting Control L, flip the normals, and this will not be the end of it, as you'll see in a moment. Again, there's no indication in the display inside Blender that this is an issue. This will be useful information for the future, that I should actually use the Trainz exporter to see if my normals are correct. So there's the floor displayed, although the console still has a bunch of normals that are flipped the wrong way. So next I'm going to do the sides. I originally tried selecting all and flipping the normals, but for some reason that didn't work. Not clear why, so I did each side individually. Here I'm speeding ahead. So flip the normals. Here I was doing at least a little bit of experimentation because I was making a second or third attempt at fixing this problem at this point, because there are a number of things in this model that may have upset the exporter. I had never exported this complex a model into Trainz before. Most of my exporting had been to Redline, and interestingly enough, Redline had a lot of the same demands, although I was using an earlier version of Blender at that point, which made it more obvious if your normals were wrong. So anyway, I just flipped the normals on the back of the interior. Now the footwell gets flipped. And then I do the console. Then the gauge cluster. I'm not sure why the gauge cluster got flipped. It might have been that it was inset. So an indirect problem. It didn't completely destroy it, but it made it invisible in most situations, unless it was flipped manually. So I am still not done because the right side is still facing the wrong way, and the outer edge of the console, except for in the back, is also flipped the wrong way. Actually, the outer edge is also flipped the wrong way. This can be rather confusing. Now that's still the old model. I realized that to speed things up I should do multiple fixes at a time, keeping the old file open. In the mesh viewer. Okay, so that little corner there, I was aware that that needed to be flipped also. And then the, I don't know what you would call it, the groove through the dash is also wrong. Again, maybe because it's inset. It is a groove. I was worried that that was going to be the hardest part, but in reality, as you'll see, it was not. And this bit here will be the stubborn part in the end. Why it didn't work initially, I have no idea. But anyway, we'll see what I did. So save it, export. Now we get rid of the, well actually this is the correct model. So the right side still needs to have its normals flipped. We have this hole behind the console. And that little slot over there on the left which doesn't belong, so I'll make my first attempt at fixing the hole in the console and the slot in the left of the dash. Then while I'm at it, I will flip the normals on the right side, jumping ahead here to save time. So flip normals. Now we save. Now we export. And how does it look? Well, the right side is visible now. That's good. But as you'll see, that slot in the dash still stubbornly refuses to disappear. I think the reason for this was that it was still selected when I selected the right side, and I didn't remember to deselect it. I also connected this little edge here so that there wouldn't be this orphaned vertex. I was concerned that that might be part of the problem too. So another attempt at this. Flip normals. One more try here. Actually, once I saved this, I didn't stick with the version number 1.1.9 because that's for an older version. I was working from a separate work folder, anticipating a lot of problems, and it's a lucky thing because I was right. So anyway, thanks for watching.